Department of Commerce and Management. Today I am going to discuss on the subject business environment. Business environment is very important for conducting any business activity. Any business is going to succeed or fail purely depends on the environment it exists. So it is very essential to learn the existing environment either before starting a business or at the time of conducting the business or in future for the expansion activities too. Today we are going to discuss about the various concepts of business environment, types of business environment, the factors affecting the business environment, importance of business environment, and how the culture and the business environment plays a major role in conducting a business activity, and the other related factors including the political and technological environment in which the business exists, and also we are going to discuss about the corporate social responsibility, how it is going to play a major role in the business environment, who are the stakeholders in the business environment through the corporate social responsibility. Going to the topic, first we are going to discuss about the concept of business environment. Various authors has given different definitions on business environment. According to Bayer Wheeler, it is about total of all the things external to firm and industries which affect their organization and operation. According to author M. Wiener, business environment encompasses the climate or set of conditions, economical, social, political or institutional in which business operations are conducted. Next, we are going to talk about the concept of business environment. The environmental forces, either it may be a opportunity or threat to the business community, is very important because the environment may change as an opportunity and it may change even as a threat for any business activity at any point of time, because business environment is a dynamic process which is ever changing and it is not stable. Unpredictable changes may happen at any time in the business environment. Whatever happens in the environment will be reflected in the business activity. So, it is always important to consider the business environment before doing any kind of activity related to business. Next, going to the features of business environment. When I am talking about the features, as I said earlier, business environment is a dynamic activity. Dynamic in the sense it is not at all stable. It keeps changing due to so many factors, internal or external to the organization. So, every organization should consider the influencing factors while taking any decisions related to the business environment. So, here external means it may be the customer or supplier or anybody who is directly or indirectly affected by the business. When we talk about this aspect, we have to know the stakeholders. Who are called as the stakeholders to business? That may be the internal people as well as the external people. When we talk about the internal aspects, it may be the employees of the organization, the policies or decisions taken by the organization management, as well as the externally the customer, supplier and even the government play a major role in affecting the existence of any kind of environment. So finally we can talk about the future is about the environment is not stable and it is unpredictable too. Any changes that happens in the political, anything related to the business existence may affect the business environment. Business environment differs from place to place, region to region and country to country. So this we know very well. The South Indian culture and pattern of business differs from North Indian pattern of business. So if this condition exists even in our own country, definitely it is going to be different for different foreign countries. So the middle is the business criteria and activity is going to be different, and other eastern and western countries the condition is going to be entirely different. So that is why it is going to be the best feature of business environment that it is different from place to place, region to region and country to country. Next we are going to discuss about the importance of business environment. Why we need to study the business environment? You know why? Always the organization keep on making the SWOT analysis of any industry. So this SWOT analysis is basically based on the environment on which it exists. So the strength of any business is based on either the internal environment or the external environment of business. Here the strength and weakness of any business depends on the activity that happens inside the organization as well as the outside the organization. So those activities or the operations which affects the business is mainly considered as the business environment. Next, going to the opportunities and threats that exist in the business environment. What are the opportunities for conducting a business activity in a more prospective way? What are the threats that exist in the environment? That may be an external challenge or the internal challenge to any business organization. It is always very important to know and explore the various opportunities that exist for any business organization. The same way, what is the threat for the business organization should be understood, and the organization should take corrective measures or strategize the right formulae to overcome the threat at the right time. Otherwise, it may lead to the loss of the business activity, and sometimes it may even lead to closure of the business activity. So Nokia plant, which is launched in Chennai, one of the best example for the threat of business environment. The company, the plant which has been established in Chennai did not become a great success because of not understanding the environment or the taste and preference of the customers or updation of the latest technology. So here one can understand how the threat can be understood by the existing environment to business. Here, while understanding the growth prospects, it will lead to the direction for growth. So how far a company can prosper or grow depends on the environment it exists. It may be the internal to the organization or external to the organization. So therefore, environment analysis is very essential for any business activity. What is environment analysis? So that means continuous environment. What is happening in the environment should be learned and it should be analyzed. How it is going to reflect on the business activity, because keen watching of the environment is going to help the business activity to prosper or to expand. Next, the importance of business environment is image building. If the business is not conducted in a good environment, the image of the total business is going to get spoiled. So while understanding the proper environment, it may be the location or the internal factor or the government policies imposed towards the business should be understood well and should be implemented in a proper way, and it will help for the image building. The next, the importance of business environment is to meet the competition. You know what is competition? If you say business, it is always the competition, because in the olden days, the business is carried out as a monopoly. There will be only one seller or only one business activity where they can sell whatever they wish of their own quality or quantity or their own price. How the business is going to prosper depends on only on one seller or few sellers. So today the condition is totally changed, and it is different that the competition is growing day by day. The competitors are mushrooming day by day because of the poor strategy of any business. So many business organizations which has been legend for years together could not stand before such kind of competition. It is because of not understanding the environment correctly or properly. So it is always very important to analyze the competitor and the strategies they follow in the business environment. So this is why it is always very important to know or learn or study the environment in which the business exists. Next, coming to the factors affecting the business environment. So there are so many factors that affect the business environment. So there are major two classification of factor, internal factor as well as the external factor. While talking about the common factor of demographic factor, you know what is demography? Demography is the study of human population with reference to size, density, distribution and other related data related to the human being. So it is always very important to know the demography of a particular population who are living or existing in a particular area or environment where the business exists. Because that particular business has been started or established only to meet the demands and requirements of the particular area initially. Later it could be expanded to the other regions too. So that is why the business should understand what is the demography of the population, to whom their products are to be marketed, or the products who has to be sold to the particular community of people should be known very well. Here the demographic factors also include their age, educational qualification, their income, their living style, culture, etc. will tell us the demography of a particular population in a particular area. Next, coming to the economic factors. So what do you mean by economic factor? So economic factor cannot be controlled by any business activity. You know why? Economic factors are external to the business, which cannot be controlled by the business organization. That may be again the demand force and competitive force. What do you mean by demand? Demand is the requirement by the customer or the expectation of the customer towards a product or service. So this cannot be identified or predicted by any business organization, because demand is basically based on a particular product's quality and the expectation of the customer towards a particular product, as well as the price for the particular product. Here, in the price aspect, the product should give full value for the product or commodity which they buy. So once the customer pay a particular price to a particular commodity, if they are not satisfied, they are not going to be the loyal customer to the particular product, and the business cannot be reached to a multiple population. You know why? Word of mouth communication is very effective, because there are a particular group of people who are called as reference buyers. If you buy a commodity, if you buy a product, and if you are happy with that, and if you are using it, knowingly or unknowingly, you will spread those information to the other users and other people, and it will induce them to make their selection of the product of your brand which you are using. You become an advertiser or promoter for a product knowingly or unknowingly. So demand force is decided by only those factors. Next, coming to the competitive force. Suppose, for example, if an industry is existing near your residence, if the particular business community or any competitor knows that the particular business is going on very well in a particular area in a short span of time, we can see a lot of similar kind of industry or shops or whatever it is will be emerging in the same area, and they will become the competitor for this particular business. So here you cannot control it. You cannot tell them you cannot start a business as a competitor for me. Here only one thing what the business can do is what strategy you are going to formulate, or how you are going to retain your existing customer, how you are going to capture more number of customers in the existing market. Even though there are so many shops or business mushrooming, so many brands come inside, how you are going to retain your own brand image is very important. For example, we can talk about the brand Horlicks. You may be knowing this Horlicks. For generations, this Horlicks is existing. Even though there are many new brands emerged in the market for this energy drink, but Horlicks has its own brand image and it could beat with everyone in the market. It is still existing for decades. So this is a major victory or the marketing strategy formulated by the Horlicks can be a successful one, so that it could able to emerge as a successful business even today. You can look on to it. For the different category of customers, the Horlicks has introduced so many products. You can take initially, when you say Horlicks, it was available only for a particular category of people, a normal Horlicks. But today, you can see it has identified the expectation to meet the different demands. Junior Horlicks is there for children, and for women Horlicks it has introduced, and even for the pregnant women it has enriched with special qualities and has introduced a special quality Horlicks for the pregnant women, and even for the old age people and diabetic it has given the Horlicks line. So this is how the product can retain its market, by knowing the environment. What is the environment? What is happening? So what actually the customer prefer or require, meeting the requirement. It is very simple. The business should know what is the basic requirement for its customers. once the business understood the requirement or expectation of their customers, it's very easy for any business to survive, prosper or to expand. The mere thing is, it should understand how it is going to manage the different challenges or competitiveness that happens in the surrounding market. The economic forces affecting demand can be based on the ability of the customer and willingness of the customer. What is called ability of the customer? The ability of the customer depends on his income and his expenses. So what is his income? So based on his income only he can make his expenditure. Suppose his income may be a very good amount, but he has got a lot of commitment towards other aspects. He may not be able to spend or change his purchasing pattern. So that is what called the ability of the customer to buy a product. Even though he may be earning a very good money, he has the ability to buy. Suppose there is an unexpected expense, medical expenses it may be, expenses for children or relatives or function or any marriage, there he could not spend his money for make the purchases. The next is willingness to buy. Though he has a lot of money in his bank account or in his pocket or in his wallet, still whether he is willing to buy that commodity or product or services depends on only his willingness. Whether he is happy about the product, whether the product is going to be very satisfactory or it is attracting for him to make the investment through buying that product is decided based on the economic forces. Next, coming to the total earned income and the employment. Suppose if the customer's employment is felt to be unsecure, it's not a permanent employment, it's a temporary employment, the customer is not going to spend a large lump sum of money in buying a product because his job is insecure and he wants to save his money for his future expenses. He don't want to spend the money what he has now for buying a particular commodity. The next is tax of the government. So the tax slab, or we can take the example of GST. So here we can listen people telling, lot of business people telling their business has gone down after the introduction of GST. So GST has made a great impact not only on the customer but on the business people too. So earlier it was a value added tax, today it is goods and service tax. For each and every activity from the micro level, the tax is levied and it is collected from the customers while buying the commodity. So many business people feel that their business has gone down because of their GST. The same way, so this is how it is going to affect the business or consumption because of the tax levied by the government. So here coming again about the competitive forces. So how the competitive forces is going to affect the business environment. So product differentiation. What is product differentiation? Maybe the same product, for example, we can say Apple iPhone is available in the market. The same way the other brands are also available in the market. But still people have a craze towards iPhone. Even though the features or facilities are not so comfortable or not equivalent to the other brands, people are behind the Apple iPhones. The product differentiation matters a lot for anybody, and moreover they feel very prestigious, a status symbol of having an iPhone, and they are ready to invest a larger amount of money for while purchasing an Apple iPhone. Whereas for investing in Samsung, so that has become an outdated one, and day by day the technology has been developing and so many new products has been introduced in the market, and people wanted to test particular brand is going to strategize its marketing policy. Market strategies play a major role in deciding the environment where it will boost up the sales of the customers. So here we can say that the marketing strategies, for example, we can take Redmi. Redmi is a very new brand which has been introduced in India, and we can see that particular brand has gained lot popularity compared to iPhone and other brands. So this is how the marketing strategy play a role in deciding the competitive marketing force. Next is price cutting. So what is it called price cutting? Price reduction for a particular product. So some days back, even the same Apple iPhone has reduced its price for these older versions in order to promote its product in different countries. The same way, the strategy has been adopted in India. The phones which has been sold for 1 lakh rupee has been sold for 70,000 and 60,000 rupees, and which made so attractive for the customers for buying the particular product. So this is what called as price cutting, and through price cutting the competitive pricing strategy can be adopted. Next, coming to the advertisements. So advertisements has become very common and very familiar nowadays. The social media play a major role today in advertisements. So you know the Facebook, we can see when you open the Facebook page, you can see lot of advertisements. Suppose if you are searching for any material related to your academics, so there your earlier search for purchase of any product or any brand will be displayed at the side of the image of the monitor. So there, when you are looking into some of the content which may be related to your academics, there it is coming and distracting you through colorful pictures. So that may be your earlier search for any product or commodity. You might have forgot about your earlier search, but the system or your search engine remembers your earlier search and it is displaying in front of you, and it is attracting you, it is distracting your, sometimes you may be distracted by the way they advertise, the way it is displayed. Instead of looking into your academic page, you will go and open the page. Sometimes you may be forced because of the distraction to buy that particular commodity. This is how advertisements, that to digital advertisements, play a major role nowadays. So next is about monopolistic competition. Earlier days it was merely about only monopoly. There was a single seller. There is no need for any advertisement or competition. So the business environment need not worry about anything, because in the monopoly condition there were only one seller, where whatever the product he has, he want to sell it, and the customer, they have no other go, because there is no other alternative. Whatever the product is offered by this single seller, they have to buy it, they have to accept it, they have to adjust with it. So later stage, that strategy, that thing is totally replaced with heavy competition. So next is about product differentiation. There are different products are available. So just now we have saw an example about the mobile phones, where the mobile phones are available in different features. The same feature is available with a low-cost mobile phone, but still people want to buy the Apple iPhone even by paying a higher amount, where the same features of the product is available in the same phone at a higher cost. The next is the marketing strategy and consumer service. We talk about the consumer service. Any product is sold in the market, initially you might be seeing by the sales representatives talking so many things, and they will boast about their product, telling that this is one of the best which is available in the market. So you cannot replace any product with this product, like that and all they will speak. Once the customer buy the product, and most of the companies forget to do after sales service. So that has become one of the main reason for failure of existence of any brand, because before selling a product, how much importance the company gives to the consumer, the same way it has to give importance to the consumer after sales also. Because if case there is any problem after the purchase, because the consumer is investing a lot of money and spending his time in purchasing a product and something goes wrong, the customer is really worried because he has invested a lot of money, and if he is calling the customer service and it is not properly attended and proper service is not done, he becomes an unhappy customer, and it is going to affect the sales of the product. So the consumer service is going to be a very important factor for any business activity. The next is geographical and ecological environment. So the geographical environment is based on the climate, rainfall, humidity. You know why? Certain products is based purely on the geographical environment in which it exists. A country like a hot country like India, the place where it is very hot, so there is a possibility of selling sweaters or winter products are very difficult. Geographical and ecological environment. So you know why the business should learn the geographical environment? Because the geographical environment play a major role for conducting any business. So some business activity depends on the land or the water sources, because water may be the prime source for manufacturing of a particular plant. When the water source is not sufficient, the business cannot be conducted in a major way in that particular area. So analysis of the environment will help the business activity to tell whether the business can be conducted, whether it is feasible to conduct the business activity of a particular business in a particular area. So that is what called as environment scanning. Scanning the environment. So through this scanning, we can understand the particular environment is favorable or comfortable to carry out the business activity. Because ecology will also play a major role, such as human being, animal, plants, and even the non-living things such as air, water, and the soil represented by the atmosphere, rivers, lakes, mountains, and land. Therefore, it is very essential to know the geographical location and the ecology that exists in a particular environment. Next, coming to the social and cultural environment. You know what is the social environment? The society where the different kind of people live or exist. You know, the society consists of different kind of heterogeneous population, low educated, highly educated, low income people, average income people, and the upper class people. Their social and cultural environment varies, their spending pattern varies, their purchasing pattern varies. So it is always very important to know the social and cultural environment in which the business exists. Next, coming to the political and legal environment of the business. Political forces can be classified as long-term force, quick changes, cyclical changes, and regional factors. What is long-term force? It denotes the secular trends in business activity due to the political conditions prevailing and the adoption of a particular line of policy in business. Next, coming to the quick changes. It consists of the sudden political changes due to any revolt or any disturbance in the government system. The quick change may also the result of proclamation of emergency or any martial law that may be due to the outbreak of war in a particular nation. Next is cyclical changes. It denotes the periodical anticipated changes like general election. For example, you may be knowing the election may have a greater impact in the changes in the shares. So there will be a lot of changes or declining or increasing the value of a particular share of a particular company, because it will have a major impact on the general economy, and based on the general economy, the GDP of the country can be calculated. Next is legal environment. The legal system which is followed in a particular country play a major role in deciding the environment of the business. You know, all the business cannot happen on its own. It has to follow certain legal systems and procedures which the business has to concentrate, and it has to cope up for its successful establishment or implementing of the business activity. Next, coming to the technological environment. You know, technology is not a stable concept. It keeps on changing. For example, we can take the mobile phone. The mobile phone which has been available, or the technology used in the mobile phone 10 years back is not the same today. If a particular business is using the same technology for selling its business, definitely it is going to be totally absurd and obsolete, which the business cannot survive in the market. So here we can take the example of Nokia's failure because of not coping up the technological environment or the updation in the technology, or not knowing or coping with the changes that happen in the technology. So how it is going to impact the society and impact the business creation. If new technological product is available in the market, the customer is not going to buy or not interested to buy a product which is of outdated or obsolete technology. So immediately there is a requirement for the other existing business to cope up with the latest technology, and they have to introduce the product with the latest technology. So we have to know here the business environment classification. The classification of business environment is made into two: internal and external business environment. The name itself implies internal means inside the business organization, that may be the employees of the organization, the company's policies and procedures of the organization, and the resources of the company. Maybe it may be a financial resources or human resources that exist inside the organization is internal. External environment may include legal, political, socio-cultural, demographic, and all these factors which are uncontrollable, which is outside the control of the business. Whereas the internal factors may be controllable and within the limits and controllable by the business. The external environment consists of the micro environment and macro environment. What is micro environment? It consists of customers, suppliers, competitors, public and market intermediaries. So a brief discussion about the customer. So who are going to be the customers? The customers may be the households, producers, retailers, garments, and even the foreign buyers. So the customer need not be the people only who is consuming. That may be the manufacturers also sometimes become the consumers, and they are called as the industrial buyers. So now about the suppliers. They supply inputs, money, raw material, fuel, power, and other factors of production which help in smooth conduct of the business. Firms should remain aware of the policies of the suppliers as increase in price of inputs which will affect their sales and profits. Next is competitors. Competitors form important part of the micro environment. Firms compete to capture big share of the market, should understand the competitor strategy, and they constantly should watch competitors' policies and adjust their policies to gain customer confidence. Next is about the public. So who is the financial public? The banks, financial institutions, media public, newspapers, radio, television, and government public, customer organization. Internal public are workers and managers. Local public are neighborhood or community residents, and general public are buyers at a large. Next, coming to the market intermediaries, they are the links that help to promote all and distribute the products to final customers. They are the physical distribution firms, transport firms, service agencies, media firms, financial intermediaries, banks, insurance companies, etc., which helps in producing, marketing, and insuring the goods against the loss of fire and all. Next is macro environment. The macro environment consists of the economic and non-economic variables that provide opportunities and threats to the firms. This is largely uncontrollable, and therefore firms adjust their operation to these environment factors. Next, coming to the macro environmental factors. Economic environment. It consists of the forces that affect the business activity, industrial production, agriculture, infrastructure, national income, per capita income, money supply and price level, monetary and fiscal population, as well as the business cycle and economical policies, infrastructural facilities, financial facilities. These all constitute their economic environment. The government interacts with the business in the following ways. The first is as a regulator. As a regulator, it regulates the affairs of the business by promoting the activities in the certain areas and restricting in others. These regulators prevent unhealthy competition among firms and protect consumers' interests against false advertising and unfair trade practices. Next is the political and legal environment plays a two important role. Thus, it plays as a promotion role. It stimulates the business enterprises by providing incentives either to the small scale sector in terms of reserving goods for them which cannot be produced by the large scale business houses, big industrial houses, which is set up in backward areas for providing development facilities to industries through the industrial estates, financing facility, etc. Next, the role is as a restrainer. Restraining role is done by the government through the business organization within the legal framework of the country. Laws have to be obeyed and judicial interpretations have to be followed. As a supplier, it supplies resources to the business concerned. As a competitor, it competes with private entrepreneurs in areas like telecommunication, electricity, construction, etc. As a customer, it supports business houses by buying their products. Socio-Cultural Environment. It represents the values, culture, beliefs, norms and ethics of the society in which business enterprises operates, their buying habits, buying capacities, tastes, preferences and education of the population around the business, which is going to affect the business enterprises. It also affects the business objective. Social objectives are framed along with economic objective as the society demands business organization to look after their interests. The next is organizational process. Various organizational processes like motivation, leadership, control policies are framed within the constraints of the cultural system of the country. The next is goods and services to be produced. The business main motive is to produce the goods or to render services to its customers. It is equally important that these goods are desired by the society. Socially acceptable goods promote both business image and profits. Next, coming to the technical environment, technology refers to application of scientific and organized regarding techniques of production. Next is demographic environment. It consists of population in its varied forms such as gender, age, income, growth rate, language, religion, etc. Next is natural environment. It consists of both the renewable and non-renewable resources. So what is renewable resource? Renewable resources are air, water and solar energy. What are non-renewable resources? These are oil, coal, wood which cannot be replenished. Next is international environment. International environment is equally important because it represents the global environment characterized by the borderless world. The Indian economy entered into the global world in 1991 through liberalization policies. We all remember about the LPG policy, liberalization, privatization and globalization, which encourages the business globally. The next is economic environment of business and its important. It is very important in framing the economic policy of the government, stages of economic development, agricultural and industrial production, infrastructure, planning process, trade cycles, national income, savings, population, money supply and price level. Important constituent elements of economic environment of business are economic system. What is economic system? It consists of the legal and institutional framework within which various economic activities are undertaken. The next is macroeconomic scenario. So what is macroeconomic scenario of a country? It determines the prospects of business to a larger extent. A healthy environment supported by rapid growth, high rate of saving and investment, stable price level, fiscal stability and favorable balance of payments always open a bright prospect of business growth in a country. Next is business cycle and stagflation. Economic environment of business is also influenced by ups and downs or cyclical fluctuations in business activity. Prosperity and recessions are the common phases through which the capitalist economy passes through periods. The next is financial system. What is financial system? It is broadly classified into two parts. One is money market, the next one is capital market. Money market is a market for short-term monetary assets. The capital market is about long-term funds and it has two broad constituents, the financial instruments and the security market. The security market has again two constituents. One is the new issue market, the primary market, and the stock exchange, the secondary market. Next is economic policies. So what are the classification of economic policy? Economic policy is classified into industrial policy, monetary policy, trade policy and fiscal policy. So based on the environment of business, the economic policies has been formulated. Non-economic environment of business and its important. It can be classified broadly as politico-legal, demographic, socio-cultural, technological and natural environment. What is politico-legal environment? In modern times, political-legal environment is having a paramount importance in business. The politico-legal environment includes three political institutions such as legislature, executive and judiciary, which usually play a useful role in shaping, directing, developing and controlling the business activities. Next is demographic environment. It is also an important constituent of business environment. Accordingly, demographic factors like rise and growth rate of population, age and gender composition of population, rural-urban distribution of population, educational level, religion, ethnicity, caste, language are all relevant to business conditions. Next is socio-cultural environment. It is another important element of non-economic environment of business. These include people's attitude towards work, wealth, ethical issues, role of family, marriage, religion and education and the social responsibility of business. The next is technological environment. It is an important element in business environment. Technology implies systematic application of scientific or other organized knowledge to practical tasks or activities. Natural environment. In a diverse way, industrial activity is no doubt influenced by scientific and technological development, but natural endowments are still playing a dominant role in the establishment and maintenance of industrial activity. Impact of culture in business. So what is the impact of culture in business? Particularly, there are certain cultural values that has a significant impact on how potential customers will react based on the culture. For example, I can tell the words or languages we use, the colors we use in a particular region entirely differs in another region. The meaning of colors or the meaning of words differ from one place or one region to another. For example, in India, we say white means it is for purity. In some countries, white means it means sorrow. So the people who are going to a sacred places, they avoid wearing white. But in India, we give a lot of importance to white as purity. Similarly, the word Usha, which is called as a name in our country, it is considered the equivalent to the word of a dog in Ethiopian language. So I can tell you one instance regarding this. One of my friends who was working, is an Indian friend, who was working in Ethiopian university. Once she went to the class and she started introducing herself. She said, I am Dr. Usha. People started laughing like anything. So she was surprised and wondered why immediately when she told her name and introduced herself, all the students started laughing. Then the students started telling that according to our language in our country, Usha means dog. So this is how the language or words differ from one place to another place. So here the business should consider while coining a name using the language, because the same word which is so we have a common brand Usha. Usha is known for sewing machines, fans in India. The same Usha means it is considered to be an animal in other country. So this is how it is considered to be very important to know the culture's impact on business. Next, coming to the social responsibility of business. So everybody has some responsibility towards the society. So similarly, business has also have some responsibility towards the society. So how the business is going to meet its responsibility towards the society? By meeting the obligation, by meeting the demands and requirements of the lower end of the people who are living in the society. The first responsibility is creation of the society. So any enterprise, its ultimate aim is to create a society. By means of its manufacturing or production process, it should not spoil the environment. It should create a new society where marketing of goods and services can be done in a society. It is going to be beneficial to the general public or the people in the society who are going to consume it. The next is theory of trusteeship. Mahatma Gandhi has evolved a theory of trusteeship. According to him, the trusteeship of the wealth of society, and it should not be the wealth for their self-enrichment. So it should be at the cost of the society. So here the business should think it is a trustee of the society. It should not spoil the society or the environment. It should safeguard the society by gaining more wealth for the betterment of the society. Next is long-term interest of the business. Fulfillment of social responsibilities is in the long-term best interest of business. Performance of social responsibilities will help in the survival and growth of business enterprises. The next is joint venture concept. A business enterprise is not an exclusive creation of owners who provides funds for its functioning. Rather, it is run on a joint venture concept. That is, employees, consumers, suppliers all support the functioning of the enterprise in their own way. The next is public image. Performance of social responsibilities makes for the image of business in society. Such public images is yet another name for the goodwill of business. Creation of business goodwill pays the huge rewards to business in many ways. The next is government intervention. Businessmen should perform social responsibilities voluntarily in case otherwise the government might intervene and force the businessmen to perform social responsibilities through enactment and enforcement of suitable legislation through social responsibilities. The next example, financial resources. There is no doubt that the business class is the richest resources of the society. The class is the fittest agency to perform social responsibilities by virtue of its financial powers. Business leadership is also needed to be a powerful and dynamic tool. Such leadership is needed to solve those social problems which even the government cannot solve. The next is no law for all situations. So that means the government cannot enact legislations covering all aspects and spheres of social responsibilities. The business should morally undertake to perform social responsibilities in those areas which are not regulated or guided by any of the governmental legislations. Example, eradication of poverty, holding the price line, giving up cutthroat competition, and so on. Specific social responsibilities. The specific social responsibilities are over the investors, employees, government, and with the public. So the first is responsibilities towards the owners or investors. Paying a reasonable rate of dividend as a reward for risking capital in business is very important, because so there may be investors or financiers who come forward to give you capital for the business activity. So it's a responsibility of the business to give them a proper returns and to pay back the interest in a proper and fair way. The next is responsibilities towards the employees. So how the business can pay their responsibility toward the employees? Payment of adequate and timely wages, providing a good and congenial, favorable working environment where the employees will be pleased to work in the organization. The next is providing adequate industrial safety devices, because some organizations which involve more risky and dangerous environment which they are supposed to work. In that case, they have to provide all the safety devices, including gloves, all goggles, such as the specs which they wear while working in a dangerous environment. The next is granting the job security. Job security is very important for any employee who is working in the organization. It is a responsibility of the business to give the job security for the employees. The next is responsibility towards the consumers. So supplying the goods of good quality at fair prices is one of the greater and major responsibility of the business to the consumers. Avoiding or involving in unfair trade practices, because unfair trade practices may succeed for a while, but in a longer run the business cannot succeed when they use unfair trade practice. So taking the due care of after sales service is also very essential for the business for retaining their existing customers, and not to indulge in false, misleading and vulgar advertising is also important from the part of the business to its customers. And immediate redressing of consumer grievances. If the consumer comes out with any grievances, so it's the responsibility of the business to solve it and meet the grievances immediately. The next is responsibilities towards the state or central government. Timely payment of legitimate taxes, cooperating with the government in the implementation of its economic and social policies, supplying the required information to the government departments time to time, refraining from corrupting the public servants, not to indulge in winning political favor for selfish interest. The next is responsibilities towards community and public in general, ensuring best utilization of the scarce economic resource of the society, generation of maximum employment opportunities, controlling the environment pollution, preventing the urban congestion, undertaking the programs for rural development. So this is how we are going to conclude today how the business environment play a major role for any business activity to decide its major decision factor. So here you have looked upon what are the importance of business environment, what are the different categories of business environment including internal and external environment, and who are all the stakeholders of the business. Next we have covered about the factors which has been affected by the business environment. Next towards the non-economic activity towards the business, how it is affecting the business environment, and finally the corporate social responsibility, how the image and social responsibility is going to help in build the future of any business activity. This is how the business environment plays a major role in deciding the prospect and success of any business activity. Thank you.